EEKtober, everyone. We're doing 31 days of scary movies, and today is day 11. I am your host, Melissa Forziat. I'm a keynote speaker. My topic is something I call Take the Doughnut, which is another way for me to say carpe diem. And that comes from this very strange thing that happened to me in college where I left an actual donut on a table, but that became an object lesson for me and what it looks like to leave opportunities behind. So I don't want to do that anymore. I want to take the donut. Now, from time to time, I'll issue myself a Take the Doughnut challenge. If there's something that I want to do, I'll make it official, and it's a way to hold myself accountable. But this time, I'm opening up the Take the Doughnut challenge to anybody who wants to join. And here we are. Welcome. We're here doing 31 days of scary movies. And again, today is day 11. This is a special day. It's a double feature day. We're doing a found footage, supernatural double feature. We watched Paranormal Activity. We're watching Host now. And this one is not 100% fair to call it found footage, but I think it's something that works within that subgenre. It's like a Zoom horror is what I've been saying about it. This one was directed by Rob Savage, written by Gemma Hurley, Rob Savage, and Jed Shepard. And the cast, it starred, the names of the actors were the names of the characters. So we've got Haley Bishop as Haley, Gemma Moore as Gemma, Emma Louise Webb as Emma, Radina Drandova as Radina, Caroline Ward as Caroline, Teddy Leonard as Teddy, and Salen Baxter as Salen. If you're interested in this film, sorry, no other films in this series for you to check out that I'm aware of, but maybe some people are working on it. So just something to know about that. Before we get into like sort of talking through the film, there are some general notes that absolutely need to be given. Like what do I think, what was important to me about including this film on the list of the 31 days of scary movies? First of all, this film is a time capsule in more than one way, and it's a culture capsule in more than one way. This was made in 2020. We were in the middle of COVID lockdowns, and a bunch of people in the UK said, let's do something with this time we've got. Let's make a movie from it. And they did. And they used a very limited budget, $100,000, and they created this film. So what you're going to get here is dialogue and sort of a situation that very much encapsulates what their lives looked like in lockdown, how people talked to each other in lockdown, some of the ways that we communicated with each other in lockdown. This is all very of the time, and it reflects a culture of a very specific moment in our lives. And so there's that, but it also reflects Zoom culture. It reflects, a lot of the things that we've experienced in perhaps a less horrific way play into this film and how it's constructed. So all of those things, how I talk about this film today in 2024 might not be how you talk about this film, a decade, 20, 30 years from now. And so it's worth noting what was happening in the time and why people are talking to each other the way that they are here. The other thing that's worth noting is if you're going to have a budget of $100,000 and if you're going to have people in lockdown, you're not going to be able to bring a whole bunch of crew out who specialize in different areas to help these actors get set up in their homes. So they were really trying to figure out what stunts they'd be able to execute with some simple materials in their own homes. This is something they brainstormed beforehand, and they did what they could execute on their own. And I think that's part of what makes this cool. It's just a very creative use of space and limited equipment and limited resources to make something that's visually quite interesting. The other thing that I wanted to mention here is that this film, it feels like there are a lot of references to different movies on the 31 days of scary movies list that I'll be sharing. So I'm going to mention some of them along the way, but you may very well find other movies referenced as we go through. And I welcome anybody sharing other movies that they spotted, like little nods to them, little homage moments, because there's a lot of things like that in this film that you either see and they intended it, or you see and they didn't, but they're still there for you. So I'm going to mention some of the ones that I've picked up on as we go. But that's, I think, the main things I want to say to get us started. It's except to say this, look, I put it into sort of like a found footage double feature. Paranormal Activity, which I paired with this, is certainly the found footage subgenre. This is not exactly cleanly in that category. It's more real time. So it's, can you call it found footage? I'm calling it also a Zoom horror because it's something that we're experiencing in real time. And so maybe that's a nuance that needs to be referenced here as we're going through. But I do think the effect of it is very similar. I think the idea of seeing things on screens, of seeing messages coming up, and even the way they do the credits in this, I think it's very much like the technology is part of our lives and it's integrated fully into this movie. So when we get started here, we're going to hear a bunch of clicking because we need to know what this is straight away. We're going to see the screen of a device open up with a sort of a control panel of it, and somebody is clicking around. It's Haley's personal meeting room. So Haley is hosting this event on Zoom. We're going to see, I kind of like this choice to start as she's approaching her camera. She's just sort of like a hazy white light sort of fixing her hair, and then she realizes that she's got tape over her camera and she's going to take that off. So I kind of like that she's hard to make out. I think it opens it up with a sort of an eeriness, like a spectral figure. The meeting is going to get started. She's alone at first. She walks into her bedroom with the computer, and now Gemma's trying to get in, but it takes her a minute to notice that because she is getting ready and she hears something weird. There's a noise happening. She checks in her closet, and just like all this stuff starts falling out of her closet. Things are precariously perched in there. And then she realizes that the sound is actually coming from her window. Gemma's throwing something at her window to get her attention. She's like, let me in. So Gemma must live really close to Haley, where she can just run over really quick, and that'll become useful later. So now we're going to get Haley letting people in. We've got Gemma, we've got Emma, we've got Caroline, we've got Redina. And Teddy's going to come in a little late. But he's one of the people that she invited to come to this meeting. Okay, so now we're going to see that we're just going to hear a little bit of exposition here. Haley has done something like this before. Gemma has not. Haley is, the one who has the most experience in this group with this. She's like, yeah, usually something does happen, but it's fine. And so Gemma's like, well, she's not really a believer at this point. Really, pretty much most of them aren't. I'd say Caroline has a healthy fear / respect of this from the very beginning, but otherwise people are a little bit skeptical. Okay, so we are going to see, we're going to see double of Gemma because she's turning off, got her phone and her computer, and then the audio is, she has to mute an audio. So we're going to get that infinite looping of her voice and the echo of it, which is something I'm sure most of us have experienced at least once on Zoom. And then she's going to go away, which I guess later in the film, one of her is going to go away and she'll just be one Gemma now. I guess it's sort of what we experience later in that her screen is up and then she goes to Haley's as well. Okay, so as people start showing up, we're going to see Emma's a little nervous. Redina shows up. We're going to see a guy in the background, somebody that she's locking down with. Probably her boyfriend, but we don't know that for sure here. Caroline's going to come on screen and her dad, Pat, is with her. Everybody loves Pat. He's been going out. He's been getting a tan in the middle of lockdown, and they're not happy about it. Caroline has a face mask on at the beginning, and she's going to take that off partway through. One thing that we're going to find out about Emma is she really likes those mask filters. So different things are going to appear over her face at different times, especially in the beginning. So Redina is going to mute herself for a second as her boyfriend, the guy she's cohabitating with, he starts prepping food and like cutting things on a cutting board. She's like, you're making so much noise. She mutes herself and she has a whole argument about it. And then and he's going to end up leaving the room. But as that's happening, all the other friends are on and they're like speculating about her situation and whether it's okay, which just because she's muted herself doesn't mean that she's muted everybody else. But hey, Zoom. So Emma's trying out the different filters. She's got the pig face now. She's, testing some things out. Caroline shows us a fancy new trick that she got. She created a video of herself walking from, I guess, her bathroom to her dresser. And just like the video is now her background. And she's going to keep that background on for the rest of the film. Teddy is going to come, but he's not here just yet. They're talking smack about him. They're like, he's obsessed with this girl Jenny that he's locking down with. He's locking down with her and her parents. And they're like, she's so fake. They don't like her at all. And then he comes and they're like, oh, hi, Teddy. Ginny is in the background of the frame. She's at her pool. She's in her pool. Teddy is at poolside. He's going to bring the computer into the house. And so the gang is almost all here. Everybody brought items for a seance. He brought a music or a jewelry box. It was his Nana's. His brother used to hide it around the house. So I'm thinking that he's actually trying to contact his brother. Could be his Nana, but my sense was that the brother's not still alive. The music is kind of creepy to him. Caroline's really nervous. Haley is like, no, it's okay. This woman is my friend. Hey, but everybody keep that in mind. She's my friend. Please be respectful. Please be serious about this. And that's going to last like 2 seconds for everybody. Teddy, and when I say 2 seconds, I mean it. Teddy's like, right. Great idea to be respectful. But can we do a drinking game where every time this woman says astral plane, we take a shot? And she's like, oh, come on. Seriously? He's like, no, it's just, that would be fun. So Haley's like, please just don't let her see that you're doing this. Some of the others are into it. Gemma, interestingly enough, is drinking water, but she's going to be hit over the head with a wine bottle at the end of the film. So that's a fun choice. Alcohol, who knows what alcohol has done to her in the past? Who's to say? Okay, so Salen's going to arrive. Salen is the medium, the person who's going to be guiding them through this seance. They all do hellos. She's actually never done this over Zoom. So she's done it before, but she's a newbie in this format through this medium, if you will. Haley, she's going to confirm, does everybody have trigger objects? They all do. They're holding them up. We can see a couple of them. I can't quite make out what they are, but Gemma is going to ask a clarifying question. She's like, look, if I'm trying to reach my Chinese grandparents, but I don't speak their language and they don't speak mine, can we still communicate? And she's like, oh yeah, absolutely. There's no language in the astral plane. A couple of them take a shot. She's like, so it'll be okay. Emma's like, well, can I contact a pet? Salen says, yes, again, no language in the astral plane. A few of them take a shot now. Caroline specifically does not. She's pretty nervous about this, and you can see it from the beginning, and that stays true for the whole film. Haley doesn't do it because she's trying to be respectful. But Radina and Teddy and Emma get into it. So they all are going to light their candles because it's a beacon for the spirits. And Salen sort of sets some of the rules, some of the things that we should look out for. So she's like, if we're asking questions, some of the responses you might look for from the spirits could be things like a name popping into your brain or a face, or maybe there's a knock that you hear or a light's going to flicker. Maybe you might feel somebody touch you. Could be any of those things. Teddy's like, just a quick question. What was the name of that plane you mentioned? She's like, astral plane. A bunch of people drank. Haley is so annoyed. She's like, this is my friend. I brought you guys together for this. So Salen's like, yeah, let's respect the spirits, shall we? Emma and Caroline are now both looking a bit worried. And, she's going to explain some of the rules. She says, look, if we were in person, we would be in a circle. But here's what we'll do. What we'll do is we'll visualize a circle. Now, if you're feeling uncomfortable and we need to break the circle, here's how we do it. We are visualizing a circle. You visualize breaking the circle. You visualize a rope around your waist leading to your front door, and then you visualize cutting it. I don't know if I totally follow the symbolism there, but I am not the expert. And neither is Salen, if I'm being totally honest. So she says that it will sever the connection with the spirit realm. Done. Boom. Rope, cut it. So the visualizing starts. They are supposed to visualize themselves being in a circle and holding hands, even though they are on Zoom. But again, Salen hasn't done this on Zoom. She's not 100% sure what's going to happen when you've got this much space between people and the entire internet at play. So she's going to play music to get people in the mood, but this is Zoom, so the music is like barely audible. And then we're going to get Ginny. She's going to steal Teddy away. She comes up to Teddy and she's going to be joking with him, and it's going to start to distract people. And then she's going to have him, they're going to breathe in and out together. And while she's doing that, she accidentally blows out the candle, but she thinks it's hysterical. And everybody's like, Teddy, get out of here. Come on. Come on. And so Ginny's going to steal him away and she's going to turn off his video. He's going to hang up. And Salen's like, okay, it's okay, everybody, just focus back in. We're all good. So here's the deal. Hey, don't worry about it. We can all be possessed through Zoom. So just focus in. And they're like, we can all be possessed. That's not like an incentive. She says, no, it's not the thing that it sounds like. You're fine. She says, okay, let's visualize. We're sitting in a circle. We're holding hands. And spirit, we invite you to pass on communication through us. Anyone there? We pause. There's nobody. Salen's like, Regina, what's that light moving behind you? And now we start investigating it. We can see a light sort of moving and waving sort of up above and behind her, nearer to the ceiling. It turns out it's a reflection on the camera, so nothing to worry about there. It's because probably the candle is in front of the camera. And that's also happening for Gemma as well. Then we're going to hear a bang. Everybody hears it. They're worried about that. They don't know where it came from, though. It could have been from any of them. Then Salen says, all right, spirit, if that was you, knock one more time. And there's going to be a knock on her door because it's her food delivery. She's like, ooh, sorry, so sorry. I called them before this. They were supposed to come before, but they didn't. She's very embarrassed. She has to go get the door and everybody's going to talk about her when she leaves. And so it takes a while for her to come back, a little too long. And so Salen comes back. She's like, okay, let's just focus. Let's focus on the task at hand. And then Haley's going to jump a little bit. She's like, oh my God, I felt a hand on my shoulder. And then Gemma's going to scream and stand. She's going to make a big thing of it. She's like, oh my God, something touched my neck. There's a lot of pressure on my neck. Caroline's really worried now. She didn't need a reason to be more worried than she is right now. So Gemma's being instructed by Salen. She's calling hello, somebody there. They're all listening. Gemma's tearing up. She says, I'm hearing the name Jack. I'm seeing the name Jack. She knows a Jack from school. He passed away. He helped her once when she was injured, and he eventually hung himself. He committed suicide. Salen's like, all right, Gemma, I want you to, and then something on the side of her frame is going to fall down. And at the same time, Salen's camera is going to go, like she's disconnected from the call. So it all happens at the same time and it startles them. Now that she's gone, though, Gemma doesn't have to keep up this ruse. So she's going to laugh. She was faking the whole story. And this is going to make Haley really upset. She can't even look at Gemma right now. So she's just going to get up to go to the bathroom and everybody's going to go take a break for a second. And this is sort of like I don't know if it's exactly cleanly a first half of the film, but there's a before and an after here. Now, when does the before and after actually start? Does it start when Salen answers the knock on the door? Does it start when Gemma makes up this person and invites something in? I don't think it's officially marked by them going to the bathroom, but this film is not scary before this. And after this, it may start to pick up pretty quickly. So Everybody's going to come back from the bathroom, and Gemma is going to sit down. Haley is there. Those two are there first, and it's kind of silent treatment happening. Gemma's candle went out while she was away. That's spooky. And Gemma is going to relight it. Gemma's sensing some tension, and I'm getting a name, Haley, and she really annoys Haley, and Haley is going to just lose it on her. And then they all lose it, and they're talking over each other, and it's a frenzy of talking, and then it's interrupted by Haley's entire chair being pulled back all the way across the room with her in it until she's brought to a stop. That gets everybody thinking. So she's now looking at the chair. She's trying to, this was an odd occurrence for sure. Haley's like, okay, we have to keep going. Does anybody want to talk to me? Is this like spirits? Like, what's happening here? Haley hears something. They're all going to turn their microphones off. She's not sure if she's hearing it from her place. So she takes her computer into the hallway. She's opening doors, but the sound wasn't coming from her house. Caroline hears a sound behind her instead. She is getting pretty nervous about this. She's been afraid, actually. She's going to bring her computer downstairs. She's calling for her dad, but then she hears a crash upstairs. So she's going to go back up. We're going to see her look up at her attic. There's a door, like a cover of the door, stairs that you can pull down. She's going to decide to go and check out the attic. She gets a camera that she can take with her. She brings it up the stairs with her. She's going to look around. This, for me, is a very Black Christmas reference. For those who had a chance to check out that video, it's a really fun one. It's a great movie. And this is a moment that made me think of that for sure. She looks around, she sees something that scares her. She runs down from the attic. It's like, call Salem. Haley, call Salem. We have to figure out what's going on, get control of the situation. So Haley is going to call Salem, but she can't get her yet. Caroline's crying. She's so upset. Haley is going to point to a room at the end of her hallway. She grabs a Polaroid camera. Again, like, this is from 2020. This is Zoom culture. It's meant to be, the Polaroid is an anachronistic thing, but it's like sort of combining, especially when you end the film with taking flash pictures from a Polaroid camera. It's this really interesting juxtaposition of older technology and newer technology that are right next to each other, all being used for pleasure right now, or, well, not pleasure in this movie, but that's the intention. So she's going to start taking picture. She takes a picture of the room down the hallway, and I love that the Polaroid kind of squeals, the normal sound it would make, but on Zoom, it's weird. And when it develops, she sees there's kind of a figure, some sort of a figure in the room all the way at the end of the hallway. Emma's wine glass is going to explode for no apparent reason, and now people are on edge. So Haley's going to finally get a hold of Salem. Salem's so sorry, her internet's down. Haley's like, okay, so Caroline's scared. We're just having some experiences, like only Caroline. I'm not going to put myself in that category. She says, we're having experiences. Salem's like, well, experiences are good. That's what we're here for. Just keep calm. Someone's probably passing on a message. Hey, I mean, it might be Jack, right? Gemma's like, yeah, Jack's not real. I made that up. Salem's like, okay, wait, Jack doesn't exist. See, here's the thing. I told you not to disrespect the spirits. So you invented a person, and now you've summoned a false spirit is what you did. If you made them up, you've created a mask. Anything could put it on. So hopefully it's just a spirit. Caroline's like, well, what if we're not lucky and it's not a spirit? She's like, well, I mean, it could be something demonic. That would be Gemma's fault. She's like, Gemma sent out an open invitation. We're going to have to shut this down. So let's just thank the spirits. Spirit, here, a couple questions for the spirit. Give us 1 knock for yes, 2 for no. Do you have a message for us? Haley's light turns on once. That's a yes. She's like, well, are you a friend? And we're going to get like, Haley's light is just going to just like, it's practically going to burst. It burns so bright. They freak out. They lose Ceylon. if that was even Ceylon. Like you could make an argument that it is not. A couple ways to read when things shift in this film. Haley is like, okay, we got to do the rope thing. I'll take over. I've been listening. Okay, imagine it. We got the rope. We're gonna cut the rope. Thank the spirits. We're gonna blow out our candles. Done. And everybody's like, oh, we made it. We're okay. They're all fine. They're feeling relief. They're like, yeah, never again am I doing this. Regina is going to go to the bathroom again, and she's going to bring the laptop with her. You could mute in this instance, as most people now have learned to do, but she does not. Caroline is feeling better about things. They're going to start sort of packing it in a little bit. Regina's going to go into her bedroom. Caroline's going to leave her room. Regina gets a call, but then she looks and it's Alan's phone, the guy she's living with. And it's in the bathroom that she was just in, and there's no Alan there. She's like, guys, did you see him leave? So she's going to set up in the living room again. She's going to get herself centrally located in the apartment. And Gemma's going to go. She's planning to go. Yeah, there are people to say goodbye to, but I don't know. She just kind of wants to go. Emma puts on another filter on her face. Haley's like, aren't you going to say goodbye to Regina when she comes back? Let's just wait till she gets back. What about Caroline? Got to wait till Caroline comes back. And we've got Caroline coming in and going to her dresser, and they can't get her attention. They're like, oh yeah. That was the background that's been on our video this whole time. So Caroline is not actually there. Haley goes to call Caroline, and then we get a jump scare of Caroline's real face breaking through the background and smashing into the laptop keyboard. It happens once and it's very startling. And now the background's visible again with her walking back and forth. Emma's lights are moving, like all the fixtures are moving. And now she's going to look, she's showing some of the weird things that are happening in her place between the lights moving. And then all of a sudden she sees a mask hovering in the middle of the room. They're like, turn off your filter. She's like, this is a mask hovering in the middle of the room. And if you're wondering, I'm thinking this was a reference to the Alice Sweet Alice movie in our list of 31 days of scary movies. So just, it's a simple reference to it, but I do think it's a nod. So she goes to sort of reach out to the mask, and it turns and actually looks at her. And now that's terrifying. So Haley can't get a hold of Caroline. And meanwhile, Emma's dealing with all the stuff that she's dealing with. Okay, and so then we're going to see Gemma is watching all of this. Emma's going to do a little experiment. She's going to take a bunch of flour from her kitchen. She's been baking. She's going to start throwing it on the floor. A lot of people were baking during lockdown, so this is this also feels like a little bit of a part of the time capsule. She's going to throw flour on the floor so that she can sort of see if anybody's walking over it. All the cabinets behind her and the cabinets in the kitchen open behind her at the same time. So like it's a startling bunch of banging doors. And then there's going to be footsteps walking through the flour. And the kitchen equipment is all dropping out of the cabinets at once. It's absolute mayhem. I'm not 100% sure how they did this. When they don't have a whole crew working on stuff like this. She's going to run. She's going to hide in the hallway. Caroline's not even on the call anymore. Emma is going to go, she's stepping back, and we're going to see the flowery footsteps walking towards her. The lights spark around her. She's going to run. She's going to be lifted into the air and thrown down to the ground. She gets up, startled, stunned, afraid. She's going to hide under a blanket for a good long time, most of the rest of the film. And then, the filters start popping over her face again. Regina is on the phone trying to reach Alan or somebody who knows where Alan might be. And the oven turns on by itself right next to her in the kitchen. So everybody's trying to get her attention, and smoke starts filling her room. She's going to walk over to her computer like, what, guys? What do you want? Alan falls from the ceiling dead in a heap on the ground. She's going to run past him towards her door to go out. The door is slammed and she's pulled back until she's like snapped blood spatters on the screen, and she's motionless. And that is how her camera will be for the rest of the film. Emma is terrified. She's got a filter on her face, but she's terrified. Haley and Gemma are scared. And then we're going to see a message from Caroline to everybody, just like a bunch of random alphanumeric coding, like numbers and letters. That's it. Caroline is going to come back on. Their background video is still going back and forth, but the real Caroline is bursting through. She keeps, because, you know, when you've got the background up, parts of you disappear and then parts of you reappear depending on where you are. And so her face is going to keep reappearing as her face is getting smashed against her will into a keyboard over and over again. Her face is bloody. She's crying out, "Help me." This is really cool. I was very impressed with this. I love this idea. Okay, so now they're all crying. Everybody's number is up at this point. Haley is going to make a call to who at this point? Who are you going to reach? Gemma and Haley are going to have a fight, which is going to be interrupted again by Haley's chair being pulled back again. And then she goes to reach out for it. It moves away from her. She's then dragged out of the room by her feet, and the door is shut. She's dragged down the hallway. This is for me, this reminded me of Paranormal Activity. So if you haven't checked out that video, that's going to be one that's fun to check out as well. And Caroline's background is still on the screen. So now Gemma's seen enough. She's putting on a mask, and she's going to Haley's, because where is Haley right now? Emma is terrified alone. She's the only one still on this call. We've got Radina's camera is just a blood spatter. We've got Haley, just her empty room. Teddy comes online. We get a look at his table, and then we see as a clown starts walking across the table. It's a marionette. His face is in the frame, and he starts laughing. He's like, "Where is everybody?" Emma's terrified. She's like, "Get off this call. Like, you don't want to be on this call. This is the call. You don't want to do anything but this." And she's trying to get him to save himself, but he won't listen. He's just joking around. And then his light goes out. She's like, "Oh my God, get out of here." We get a message that the meeting is going to end in 10 minutes because there's a time limit. They're not using a paid version of Zoom. So they have a time limit. And so that's when this movie is going to end. Teddy is going to grab a flashlight. He wants to go check the fuse box. He sees a scary face, jump scare. I feel like this is something that's probably a reference, and I am not sure what I should be thinking of with this one. He's going to run out, very scared about this face. It could be, look, it could be so many different movies, but does this particular face strike you as anything? So we're going to see him scream. We get another face jump scare. And then he's going to go to the pool to find Ginny. She is pulled into the air, and then her neck is snapped, and she just is like over the pool, lifeless, and then dropped into the pool. Pretty cool, I gotta tell you. I don't know how they rigged that. I'm very unclear what they did to rig this with a $100,000 budget. Okay, so then we're going to follow where Teddy's going through his flashlight beam. He's going to hide in a wood pile. He hears something. It's the sound of a music box. He goes closer to the music box. He lights a lighter so he can light his way because the flashlight goes out. He continues to walk. He sees this music box in the middle of is it a barn? And he's going to fly out of frame, and then he lands in frame. He's unconscious in front of the camera, and fire from his own lighter consumes him. I mean, he should have taken this thing more seriously to begin with. He's going to wake up screaming, and his computer freezes. So he's going to he's going to be burned alive, which is just gruesome. So now Emma has just been watching one person after another perish. She's alone on this call. She's crying. We hear a thud in her room. She goes quiet. She's been hiding under her blanket, but now she sees that the door of her room has opened by itself. She's going to grab the blanket. She's going to throw it and it's going to perfectly match the shape of a person that she wasn't able to see. And it's going to cover a person's, so it's going to cover a person's figure. That's all she needs to know. She's going to run, and then she's going to be dropped. And then the next thing we're going to see is she's dropped from out of the air through a wooden picnic table. And that's the end of Emma. It's almost the end of all our characters, but we now need to know the first two characters we saw. What are they up to? So we're going to hear a knocking sound. It's not from Regina's character, camera, because that is the blood spattered one. It's not from Caroline's. Gemma breaks the glass of Haley's window, and she comes in. She's going to see there's nobody to be found in the kitchen. Teddy's camera goes away. Caroline's goes away. Regina's, then Emma's. Gemma looks around. And as she's looking, a wine bottle from the kitchen counter is going to fly out of nowhere, hit her on the head, and knock her out. So she is lying on the floor in pain. All the cabinets start to empty out, and she is going to run. And she hears something. She goes to the end of the hallway. She's walking very slowly. She finds in the room at the end of the hallway, I don't know why Haley chose to hide in here when she knew that there was a figure in there to begin with, but she's hiding in that room. They're going to elbow bump because that was a thing you did in COVID. Again, cultural time capsule. The kitchen chair is going to move all the way across the other side of the hallway. Now they're both going to see it. The light goes off, and Gemma's like, we got to get out of here. We must go. So Haley's going to grab her Polaroid that she used earlier, and they're going to light their way to leave. So she's going to, every few steps, she's going to take a picture with the flash so she can light their way, and then they'll take a couple more steps. So she takes a bunch of pictures, and then the final picture she takes is this jump scare with the monster jumping out at her. And this film ends where the free meeting has ended. Thank you for choosing Zoom. I do wonder what Zoom had to say about all this. I mean, Zoom did awfully well in COVID, so I think they came out on top. But in this movie, was it the best depiction of their company? I don't know. But I do wonder like how Zoom PR felt about this. I also love, just in terms of creativity of this film, the credits is a participant list, the meeting participants. And we scroll down to get the rest of the names. And then they close out the participants, and they close out of Zoom, and the movie ends. So it just feels very, like everything about it, including the framing, the timing, everything about it feels very specific to the technology that they were building this around and the time period that we were in. I think it helps to know what time we were in and what was happening when this film is made. I do think that it stands up anyway. I think if you watch it too far in the future, it becomes like a historical thing to look at more so than something that's evergreen. But I do think it's a really fun way to use the time that they had, the resources that they had. And I'm so impressed with some of these stunts they managed to pull off on the budget that they had with people who were not professionals in that area. I'm sure that they were getting feedback from people who had more knowledge in that area. But it's really quite an impressive thing that they accomplished here with all of that. So that's the latest and greatest. That's what I think of this film. The question is, what do you think of Host? I'd love to get your feedback in the comments section of this video. And here's what I really want. I've watched so many horror films in my day that my scary meter is just busted. I am desensitized to them. I don't know what's scary and what's not. And people often ask me for recommendations. So I'd love to get your feedback. Let me know on a scale of 1 to 10 how scary you think this film is. 1 being not scary, 10 being so scary. And let's see where we land, what kind of aggregate we get to there. Now, next time, I should say, before I say next time, again, this is a double feature day. So if you haven't already watched it, go check out Paranormal Activity. Okay, I'm going to say it's the one from 2007, but it also might be listed as 2009 because it premiered in 2007 and then it had a wider release in 2009. So that's the version that you're looking for. That's today. Tomorrow, we're going to check out for day 12 the Amityville Horror, the original one from 1979. It's a haunted house film. So these are sequenced in a way we're kind of dealing with sort of a similar vibes for these 2 days in a row. And I hope you'll join me for that one because it's going to be fun. In the meantime, happy EEKtober, everybody. Get spooky, get donuts.